You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, your premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, and I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayheart. As we move along through the months of May, June, July, and August with Jester's class of 2022 section hikers, I wanted to let you know I have added 2 more fellow section hikers to the class, so that takes us up to 16 like-minded individuals out getting the job done on long-distance trails. Before we get to today's guest, I wanted to remind all of you that I continue to send out a weekly email that goes out every Saturday. As of right now, I have about 60 listeners that receive that email update every week. I tend to share information about upcoming episodes, projects I'm working on with other creators, and upcoming events where I will be leading hikes and workshops. To join what I am calling the Jester Section Hiker Crew email list, you can send me an email at jester@jestersectionhiker.com or sign up over on our website at hikingradionetwork.com and click on the Jester Section Hiker Show. I look forward to having more of you join that crew. At the end of last week's episode, I gave you all a hint that today's guest is a familiar voice to the Hiking Radio Network, but she hasn't been on my show until today. So here's a little info about Kate Stillwell, or Phoenix, that might just jog your memory. Phoenix started as an Appalachian Trail southbound thru hiker on Katahdin in Maine on June 8th of 2017 with her daughter Alexa, or also known as Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell finished on October 31st, 2017, but Phoenix was plagued by mishaps and injury. So that hike ended after about 100 plus miles. She got through Katahdin and the 100-mile wilderness. She tried to meet up with Tinkerbell later in Vermont, but that idea was ixnayed when she broke her arm going down a rock scramble after Killington. So 2017 was not her best year. Fast forward to 2020, Phoenix started a flip-flop thru hike attempt, and this is where you might recognize her. She was a weekly guest with Mighty Blue over on his podcast, Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail, as he followed along with her flip-flop attempt. But Phoenix suffered a severe sprain in her ankle about 150 miles in, somewhere in Pennsylvania, but continued on for another 350 miles, completing Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut for about 500 miles before the ankle became dangerously compromised. Moving on, she decided to return to the trail in early spring 2021 as a lasher and could not imagine re-hiking the 600 plus miles that she had already hiked. Her hope was to complete from Harper's Ferry south down to Springer Mountain. She set out April 8th, 2021, and had a cold but fabulous hike until May 1st, 2021, when she injured the same previously injured ankle. So she returned home after completing 280 miles. So at this point, she has about 900 total miles complete of the Appalachian Trail. So this year, around the 1st of May, 2022, she is taking a train back to Roanoke and returning to the Appalachian Trail once again, and says for all of us to wish her a lack of bad luck. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode, and now on to another member of Jester's class of 2022 section hikers for all of us to follow, support, and encourage Kate Stillwell, or also known as Phoenix. All right, you guys, please welcome to the podcast a very familiar voice to the Hiking Radio Network, and now section hiker, or she calls herself a lasher of the Appalachian Trail, Kate Stillwell, or Phoenix. Hey, Phoenix, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jester. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
It is, and not unlike your section hike / through hike / lash of the Appalachian Trail, we have also been having a series of technical difficulties recording this episode, so it seems very fitting.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
So listen, the listeners have a very good taste of what you've been through in your attempt to complete the Appalachian Trail since 2017. And for those that have been listening to the Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail podcast, specifically if they were listening in 2020, they got a really good taste on how that hike went. But here we are in 2022, and you are now a part of Jester's class of 2022 section hikers. What a ride.
It has been very different than what my expectations were. But hey, that's life.
You're rolling with the punches. So in 2017 was your first attempt, and then it went to 2020, 2021, and now 2022. And I want to start this off. So your first two attempts were actually through hikes, where, your first one you started with your daughter, your second one you were going back, and your third one was last year. But last year you decided that section hiking, or you call lashing, which is a long, awesome section hike, or long ass section hike, whatever people want to call it. So how has that transition been for you? Because I'm very curious. It seems like you were adamant about through hiking, and then your mind changed. So I want to talk about that.
It's less that the mind had to change because the body didn't cooperate. In 2020, I had hoped to through hike as a flip-flopper that time. And originally I wanted to go southbound, but I wound up going northbound because of COVID. I'd be closer to home. But in Pennsylvania, good old Rocksylvania, I severely sprained my ankle at about 150 miles in, as you know from that podcast. And then I continued on for another 350 miles. So in 2021, when I went back on the trail, I thought, okay, I had done 500 miles. If I go southbound, then perhaps I could finish it as a through hiker, flip-flopping the other direction. But that didn't, I dislocated my ankle, the same ankle.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So then the mind thought, okay, I've done 900 miles of the trail. I don't think I want to redo those miles. So, but I do like going out and staying for as long as I can. And so that's when Lasher came to mind, and I adapted, as is the story of my life. I adapted and decided, well, okay, 900 miles under the belt. I'm starting at mile 750, just north of Daleville. And hopefully the goal, keep going until you hit Springer or Calamity strikes again.
Well, we're not going to let that strike again. Because one of the things that you wrote in your bio, which I loved and the listeners heard, I'm going to go back and find it here. It says, you're going out to the Appalachian Trail. You're going to start at the beginning of May, and we are to wish you a lack of bad luck. Yay! So that's what we're going to do. We are all wishing you a lack of bad luck. So 2022, here we go. So I should ask, how's the ankle now?
Ankle's fine. It took a long time to figure out what was wrong with it, believe it or not. But yeah, it actually took a good 5 months.
So what was wrong with it? Was it a bad sprain?
No.
And walk us through like your rehab or what happened.
Well, it actually was popped out I didn't know you could dislocate an ankle the way it was dislocated. So,
Oh my.
yeah, between a chiropractor and an osteopath, it was popped back in, but obviously you have nerve and tendon issues. So it just took a long time for pain to subside and not have pain every day, all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So you're ready to go. So you know what? We're not going to look back. So it's just one of those deals where when I was reading this, your bio in the intro, I was thinking about my own path on the Appalachian Trail and the series of events that happened. So I'm right there with you, and it is going to happen for you. I mean, you've got the determination. You've figured out what's going on with your ankle. So through all this, have you altered any of your gear? Are you going as light as possible? So talk to us about that.
I love the gear that I have, and so I'm not changing anything out. So in that regard, my base weight's about 18, and I go with freeze-dried food, which weighs less, so I can carry 7 days of food instead of 5. And that's helpful to do Neros and zeros, more extended. So I'm good with the weight, and I carry a smart 1.5 liter water bottle. And so, as well as a spare. So basically, unless I know there's a stretch of lack of water, I'm not carrying too much water on top of that. So, I try not to carry more than 25 fully loaded.
Correct. And you know what? That's a good weight. A lot of people are like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. But to me, it's whatever you're comfortable with. And 25 pounds is a good weight, especially 5 to 7 days of food.
Right.
So that's really good. So let me ask you this. So you've figured out your ankle. You've got, obviously you have your gear dialed in, and it sounds like, you're not going to change a lot of that. You're going to go with what works. Are you ready mentally?
Yeah, that's very much so. See, for me, being on the trail actually is the only time that I get to do something for me, where no one else is dependent on me, where I can just be. And that's a precious gift in life. So I have to coordinate that, and I get one shot a year where I get support for, the son who lives with me and the dog and all of that kind of stuff. So if I go out and I'm out for 5 months, that's fine. But if I come back in 2 weeks, I can't really go back out.
Right. Because you got to go back right into, what life, gives you at home as well.
Correct. So,
and I think one of the things that a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to say a lot of thru hikers, this is what I'm going to say. So when you're through hiking a trail and you get injured, you kind of just take a week off and you go back out, or 3 or 4 days off, and you kind of settle in where you are in a town or whatever, and you go back out. But for a section hiker or a lasher, that could be your only week of vacation. Maybe you only have 2 weeks. And that's where the mental comes in, because if you do get hurt or your plans do get sideswiped, you have this whole other aspect that you have to think about, and that is why it takes longer. So have you mentally wrapped your mind around that again?
I've had to. Absolutely. I do. I think that last year I had no clue what had actually happened to my ankle, but given the previous year's experience, I wasn't going to do another 350 on an injured ankle. Well, first off, with it dislocated, I couldn't. But so, the mental adjustment is, a lot of people have a hard time, I think, being out on trail for extended periods of time. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with what it all entails.
Well, how long does it take you to get back into it? Because I always say it takes me 5 days. Like the first couple of days, you're getting geared up and getting into it. But by the 5th day, I'm so tired. I sleep really well. I start getting into the motions. So how long does it take you to get back into the groove of things once you're out there?
3 to 5. 3 to 5 days, I would say, easily, in that range. It depends on trail conditions. how difficult that particular section of 3 to 5 days is. So, if it's a lot of Virginia, I found to be absolutely wonderful, not difficult, not particularly challenging. So I stepped into that within 3 days. Starting where I am, I'm going to be hitting, I think 3 to 5 days. That's about it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So tell us exactly what is your plan. So the 2022 logistics plan, what is it?
I have to take a train from BWI down to Roanoke, and then take, hopefully Wolverine is still shuttling, and grab him or have him grab me and take me to Daleville. And then the following morning, have him take me up to the Mills Gap Overlook, which is where I came out last year. And that's about 20 miles north of Daleville. And then I'll leave a lot of the food at the hotel, at the Motel 8, I think it is, or Super 8. And, take just a couple of days of food and hike the 20 miles to Daleville, spend the night, and then continue on to Springer.
All right. So, you're starting right off with pretty much the Virginia Triple Crown.
Absolutely.
You're going to go into, So you're going to go into Daleville, and then you're going to pick up more food, and then you're going to go south right up to McAfee Knob. What's before McAfee? I can't remember.
Tinker
You're going
Cliffs.
south. So Tinker Cliffs, McAfee Knob.
And then Dragon's Tooth.
And then the Dragon's Tooth, and away you go.
I know.
And I should tell you, when you get to Bland, you need to call me.
Okay.
Because I'm 2 hours from Bland. Or when you get around Bland.
No kidding.
Yeah, because I could come up, take you down. If you want to stay at the Big Walker Motel, I could help you get resupply, whatever you need to do. So keep me posted about that.
Oh, that is awesome. I will definitely make a note of that. I'm looking for Bland on here. I'm like, where the heck are you? Why can't I find Bland? Okay.
Well, we can talk about that offline. So I'm going to come find you in Bland. So what do you think you're going to enjoy the most this time? Or what are you hoping to enjoy the most?
Well, certainly the iconic Triple Crown. But one of the things is last year, starting in April, I froze. We had a very cold April in Virginia, and it was cold, and there was no green tunnel. The previous year, I had started in May, and starting in May, I am just looking forward to being able to hike regardless of whether it's raining or whatever, but having more of a green tunnel and a little bit more warmth. But other than that, it's just, you hike the trail and you listen to the birds, and you just, the breezes coming through the mountains and the passes, and it's just a phenomenal experience for me. I love nature. And so for me, it's the whole experience that I just can't wait to reconnect with.
And what do you think has kept you motivated? And your motivation may have changed over the years from 2017 to 2020, 21, and now 2022. What has kept you motivated and going?
That time for myself, the environment, that I never retrace my steps. It's one of the things that I hate about training is retracing my steps. The idea that you start in one place and your feet never hit the same place twice is just such a gift. And I find it very liberating. And again, it's the only time I have for myself. And I am very jealous and very much guarding that gift that my family and nature are providing for me. So it's easy to keep going.
Well, that is well said. So I don't think anybody could say it any better. So in the midst of all this, as we close out and we tell people how to follow you and cheer you on and support you, you've also started this Facebook group. So talk to us about that.
Well, it's called the Appalachian Trail 2022 Lashers. And, many people, there are section hikers and there are lashers. To me, there's a little bit of a difference. So for me, I've met a fair number of section hikers who self-identify as section hikers. They're weekend warriors. They have a very set amount of time, and they usually do something between 25 and 100 miles, perhaps. Whereas the lashers, at least from my perspective, I did 120, then 500, and then almost 300 miles. So it's really taking huge chunks, if you will, and spending a lot more time, so that you actually have to have the skills to resupply, to plan a much longer experience out in the wilderness and on the trail than you would if you are a section hiker, where you take 7 days of food and you're done. Boom. You have a pickup and a drop off.
There you go. And what happens if you're both?
Oh, sure.
We have to come up with the word for that.
True that.
True that. There you go. So Steve calls it a serial section hiker. So there you go. So if you do both, you're serial. You're doing what it takes to get it done.
It's called lunacy at that point.
Touche. I like that. So they can follow you on your Facebook group, which tell us the name of that again.
Appalachian Trail 2022 Lashers, Lashers.
And where can we find you on Instagram?
It's just, and then lower hyphen. Is that what you call it? The lower hyphen skedaddle.
Just underscore skedaddle. Yeah. And you guys, I'll have all this information in the show notes. I will also attach her bio to this episode. And can people reach out to you? What if, they may want to provide you some trail magic. So are you going to keep up to date on Instagram and that stuff?
I will probably as well as Kate Stillwell on Facebook. I will probably do mostly those two as opposed to Instagram, and keep in touch with you. But
Perfect.
it's funny, as a flip-flopper, I didn't get a whole lot of trail magic because I tend to go when most people are not on the trail, and I don't go with bubbles. So it's rewarding and it's different. It's a different experience than what all those wonderful Nobos are doing down south right now.
Well, you know what, Kate? You're heading south in my territory, so you never know what's going to happen.
I'm going to run into a bubble, that's for sure.
All right, Phoenix, happy trails. Keep in touch. Let us know where you are. And I'll make sure, again, in the show notes, it'll be all over the place where people can follow you. And happy trails.
Thank you, Jester. And I will definitely keep in touch and see you in Bland.
Yes, 100%. All right, take care, Kate.
Okay, thanks, Jester.
As you all heard, Kate has been through it when it comes to her attempts to complete the Appalachian Trail, but she is determined and mentally ready to get on trail and make it happen in 2022. Be sure to go over and follow Kate on her Facebook group page by searching for Appalachian Trail 2022 Lashers, or on her personal Facebook page by searching for Kate Stillwell. Happy trails, Kate, and hopefully we can connect somewhere around Bland, Virginia. Next week, we are going to round out the month of May and our fourth episode of Jester's Class of 2022 Section Hikers by hearing from an individual that says she is retired and living life. She also leads hikes for North Carolina chapter of the Trail Dames and can be found on Instagram by searching for hiker_girl_NC. Just a quick reminder to go check out Kate's guest bio that will be directly linked to this episode on the Jester Section Hiker page, which can be found by going to hikingradionetwork.com. You can also help support in the production of this podcast and all of our shows produced by the Hiking Radio Network by leaving us a donation while you're over there as well. You will see that donate button as you are looking at today's show notes in Kate's bio. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be safe out there and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way, if you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray. The music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets in these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Safeway. This week at Safeway, get whole Signature Farms frozen turkey, 10 to 15.5 pounds for $8 each, or 16.1 to 22 pounds for $10 each. Member price with a minimum $50 purchase. Limit one per household. Plus, packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, or AHA Sparkling Water are buy two, get three free. Limit 3 free items. Also this week, get 5-pound bags of Signature Farms russet potatoes for 97 cents each with digital coupon. Limit one. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more details.